Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our monthly ASEAN 2015 Challenges and Opportunities program in English. My name is Dr. Wilfried. As you know, I'm the Executive Director of the Human Development Forum Foundation, a registered Thai foundation non-for-profit, which runs a couple of ASEAN 2015 programs and international strategic workshops in English. The last session were very much centered on ASEAN topics. So today we want to change and concentrate a little bit more on Thai topics. And so we choose the topic land rights in Thailand. Land rights are crucial for every country in the world, especially if this country is in a dynamic developing process. Thailand is since many years a magnet for international investment, either corporate or private. Therefore, land rights are crucial for the kingdom as well. To highlight some of the important topics in this context, we invited today Mr. Fabian Doppler, an international consultant, to discuss some of the burning questions with us. Good evening, Mr. Doppler.
Good evening.
Mr. Doppler, we are very happy to have you here with us in our full English program, and we want to go straight into medias res. Land rights, we said, are crucial for investment. In a short opening statement, how you would describe the links between investment and land rights? But of course, maybe you introduce yourself before briefly.
Thank you very much. My name is Fabian Doppler. I'm a consultant for foreign investors in Thailand, and I work for Frank Legal and Tax in Bangkok. For several years, I've been working in the property industry as a consultant. With regards to foreign investment and property, I think in any kind of business venture, real estate matters will be a part of the business plan. It might start with issues as simple as the rental of an office space. For other ventures, real estate may be a crucial component of the business planning, for example, for the manufacturing industry or production basis. In other cases, the property itself is the investment, and then questions of ownerships come into play, like freehold and leasehold. Land ownership is obviously restricted for foreigners in Thailand, but there are various legal structures available. These legal structures are not always easy to understand for foreigners, and the legalities can be a bit confusing for foreigners who are not familiar with Thai law. There's also, especially in tourist resort islands or locations in Thailand, some foreigners invest in real estate development projects as stakeholders. However, it's important to note that these kind of businesses are restricted for foreigners and are reserved for Thai nationals exclusively. It's also, by the way, interesting to compare the land rights in Thailand with other ASEAN countries. Thai foreign ownership laws are often criticized by foreign investors or by people who would like to buy property in Thailand. But actually, if you are if you compare land rights in Thailand with other countries, you will see that in Thailand there's the possibility that there are various possibilities for foreigners to actually own land on a freehold basis, whereas this hardly exists at all in neighboring countries.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is a very important point what you mentioned, that Thai laws are helpful and not only restrictive. This was a very first and impressive statement, and we will follow up more on that after the commercial break.
ยะเหล่านี้สามารถนำมารีไซเคิลเป็นสมุดสิ่งที่มีค่าสำหรับพวกเขาได้ด้วยแนวคิดการใช้ทรัพยากรธรรมชาติอย่างรู้คุณค่าและให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดทำให้ดอนเมืองโทเวย์ได้เริ่มดำเนินโครงการสมุดกรีนเวย์โครงการเพื่อยกระดับสิ่งแวดล้อมให้คงอยู่ชั่วลูกชั่วหลานตราบนานเท่านานโทเวย์กรีนเวย์
คูปองดิจิตอลทีวีกสทช.มาแล้วค่ะคูปองครับคูปองดิจิตอลทีวีมาแล้วครับ
วันนี้คูปองมูลค่า690 บาทใช้แลกกล่องเซ็ตท็อปบ็อกซ์หรือเป็นส่วนลดซื้อทีวีดิจิตอลได้ที่ศูนย์จำหน่ายที่มีสัญลักษณ์โครงการ
อย่าลืมอ่านก่อนแล้วเตรียมเอกสารให้ครบนะครับ
แจกแล้ว 42 จังหวัดภายในสิ้นปีนี้ดิจิตอลทีวีดูดีทุกบ้าน
พร้อมก้าวสู่ผู้นำด้านปิโตรเคมีและการกลั่นครบวงจร
Welcome back to our ASEAN 2015 Challenges and Opportunities program in English. Today's main topic is land rights and investment with Mr. Fabian Doppler. Mr. Doppler, you explained in our first round, very interesting, that Thai laws compared to other ASEAN countries still favorable. And you gave a more general idea on investment and land rights. If we split now the discussion into the two main topics, corporate and private investment, what in your opinion are the crucial points for corporate investors for leasing, owning land, and how the actual situation and law and organizations help in Thailand?
Well, for corporate investors, there are various legal structures available, both freehold and leasehold title. Obviously, it is more attractive for corporate investors to hold land under a freehold title rather than leasehold title. As far as land ownership under freehold title is concerned, there's first of all the possibility of promotion by the Board of Investment, by the BOI. The BOI promotes certain businesses which are seen as welcome in Thailand and worthy to be promoted by tax incentives and non-tax incentives. One of the non-tax incentives is the possibility for foreign companies, even wholly foreign-owned companies, to own land which they use for the promoted business. Another possibility is to locate your business in an industrial estate as a foreign company. Also, the IEAT, the Industrial Estate Authority of Thailand, has the possibility to grant ownership to foreign companies if it's located in an industrial estate and only for the time, obviously, in which they are conducting the business in this location. Then another possibility would be to set up a joint venture together with a Thai business partner. A joint venture company can be set up with a majority of Thai shareholding, more than 50% Thai shareholding, and this kind of company would then be registered as a Thai company and then able to own land as well. There are other possibilities which are less relevant under the Petroleum Act, and there are specific rules for banks as well, but they are not so relevant really. Then other option is obviously leasehold basis. First of all, there's the regular lease with monthly rental payments. And then in Thailand, there's the possibility to register long-term lease rights for up to 30 years at the land office, and then there will be a registration on the backside of the title deed. So this is a strong right for the lessee then.
Okay, thank you very much. One short question. This lease for 30 years can be extended or not?
Yes, there's a possibility. It cannot be extended in that sense. It is limited to 30 years. It can be renewed, but this requires both parties, the landowner and the lessee, to attend the land office again for another registration after the 30 years have expired, to attend the land office again to renew the lease. There's one renewal possible for another 30 years, but not more than one.
Okay. So it means if we summarize this, we have in general, as I could count, 4 main options. We have the BOI, we have the industrial estate, and we have the option of joint venture on the one side, and then we have the leasehold as a fourth option, while oil industry, Petroleum Act are a little bit different. So coming back after this comprehensive overview for corporates, the other part is that we have a lot of private investors as well. And it looks like that many private investors also want to invest here in Thailand to bring up the country and to help the country for the ASEAN integration, because any kind of investment makes Thailand more competitive. So the private investors coming here and living here are obviously also interested to have a retirement home or a home for the family with their Thai spouse. In your opinion, what are the main topics foreign private investors are facing, and how is the Thai legal system helping them?
Well, as you said, the situation is very different for private investors. Also, the possibilities, the options are a bit different. Obviously, there's no BOI industrial estate. There's no possibilities there. But of course, foreigners in many cases will have the possibility to buy a condominium unit. This is very well known that 49% of the unit space of a condominium can be owned by foreign nationals. So this is also very common, especially here in Bangkok. When it comes to land and house, it's a little bit more complicated. It's possible for foreigners to own a building. There's no restriction whatsoever to own a building in Thailand as long as the land is owned by a Thai national. So this is something that should be noted. There's a possibility which is not very well known, which would be the 40 million baht investment. Extremely rare. I haven't seen actually a transaction of this kind myself, but it is possible for a foreigner who invests 40 million baht in authorized securities in Thailand to own 1 rai of land for residential purposes. Maybe this will be interesting at some point in the future. We will see this option. It's provided in Thai law in any event. The difficult issue here when it comes to private property ownership by foreign or in the intended property acquisitions is the nominee issue, basically. In many situations, there will be Thai nationals who would be prepared, to own land, but it is not permitted for them to own land on behalf of a foreigner. This would be nominee land holding, and this is in fact this is a violation of Thai law, and is in fact a criminal offense. So with that background, I can explain a bit more about the issue of Thai landholding companies. The joint venture companies, which I explained earlier, are in certain cases set up in similar ways, simply for the purpose of owning land. And this is not permitted if the Thai majority shareholder is not a genuine investor. Obviously, someone who just puts his name on the shareholder list would be a nominee shareholder. So this is, from a legal standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, very problematic. In the situation of private residences or family homes, you often have couples, mixed-race couples with a foreign spouse and a Thai spouse, and in these cases, people usually transfer land ownership to the Thai spouse, and in this case, the foreigner has to sign a statement at the land office during the conveyance that that the property is not common property. So this is can be difficult in some situations for the foreigner especially.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very big topic, and I see a lot of options. Condominium should be not a problem. But in the moment when you go in the countryside and you are looking for land ownership for a small house, for a retirement home, you can own the building, but not the land, as
Yes.
far as I understand.
There's a possibility, obviously, for foreigners to purchase or acquire property on a leasehold basis. So, as we discussed before, foreigners are allowed to be registered lessees, and this can, of course, be combined with the building ownership. And this is, in fact, the most prevalent legal structure in the case of land and house for foreigners.
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting points what you mentioned. We will now have a short break for the final round of this session.
แต่รู้ไหมว่าขยะเหล่านี้สามารถนำมารีไซเคิลเป็นสมุดสิ่งที่มีค่าสำหรับพวกเขาได้ ด้วยแนวคิดการใช้ทรัพยากรธรรมชาติอย่างรู้คุณค่าและให้เกิดประโยชน์สูงสุดทำให้ดอนเมืองโทเวย์ได้เริ่มดำเนินโครงการสมุดกรีนเวย์โครงการเพื่อยกระดับสิ่งแวดล้อมให้คงอยู่ชั่วลูกชั่วหลานตราบนานเท่านานโทเวย์กรีนเวย์
คูปองดิจิตอลทีวีกสทช.มาแล้วค่ะคูปองครับคูปองดิจิตอลทีวีมาแล้วครับ
วันนี้คูปองมูลค่า 690 บาท ใช้แลกกล่องเซ็ตท็อปบ็อกซ์หรือเป็นส่วนลดซื้อทีวีดิจิตอลได้ที่ศูนย์จำหน่ายที่มีสัญลักษณ์โครงการ
อย่าลืมอ่านก่อนแล้วเตรียมเอกสารให้ครบนะครับ
แจกแล้ว 42 จังหวัดภายในสิ้นปีนี้ดิจิตอลทีวีดูดีทุกบ้าน
บริษัท IRPC จำกัดมหาชนพร้อมก้าวสู่ผู้นำด้านปิโตรเคมีและการกลั่นครบวงจร
Welcome back to our full English program, ASEAN 2015 Challenges and Opportunities. We are talking about land rights. So what are the main problems, what you would summarize and highlight in the topic of land rights for foreigners in Thailand?
Well, the main impediment is certainly for foreigners the ban on owning property. It's also, generally speaking, always a challenge to invest in an unfamiliar market with different business practices and language barriers and so on. Then, in addition to that, some legal concepts, some of the concepts that I explained earlier are not so easy to understand and not completely transparent for many foreigners, so they're not completely aware what they are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. Some of the legal structures have the issue of there's compliance issues. Some legal structures that are actually used in practice are in fact rather questionable in terms of compliance. Then generally speaking, foreign investors often receive incorrect advice, incorrect legal advice also from people who would like to sell property to them or otherwise benefit from foreigners' investing in property, spending money for property. So it's highly recommended to conduct a proper preparation and a due diligence. The buyer should have a legal counsel that checks the registry at the land office. There should be a walkthrough, a site inspection. The contractual documentation should be reviewed thoroughly. And in that way, many problems can be avoided before they even arise. There's also interesting to notice also that in Thailand, while there is a notary public system here in Thailand, we don't have here the system that Western countries have. For example, Germany, where I come from, has a notary system where the notary public is very much involved in the property conveyance and in the real estate transaction. And his function is to review the documentation, to draft an agreement, and to also advise and guide the parties of the transaction through the process. This is very important, especially for the buyer, that the notary public informs and warns buyers about issues if there are any issues. Here in Thailand, the buyer is pretty much on his own, and he has to hire legal counsel to protect his interests during a property transaction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Doppler. This was very comprehensive. I just would like to mention that HDFF is doing at the moment a study for the Thai Research Fund on foreign land ownership in Thailand, where many of these questions are more discussed in detail, and you can get this study from us if you look at our website or contact us in the via the web address. Then you can get this study. Thank you very much again, Mr. Doppler, for this explanation, and we are looking forward for the next ASEAN 2015 Challenges and Opportunities program in full English. Thank you very much.
การเรียนเมื่อประกอบที่จะด้าน